Alrighty, good afternoon, everyone. This will be the first of many music streams, I hope. Um, I'm actually new to streaming within the last week or two. I have a couple buddies that are as well, and so as we're starting, as we're building content, and as I'm doing stuff from my own brand, there's plenty of background music and other stuff that I've been asked to do and that I want for myself, and so I thought it'd be cool that as I created this, that I just created it with y'all, created it in lifetime, kind of felt it all out and showed you kind of what my music creation process is. I know there's a lot of people out there involved in music that do recording or want to record and just kind of either don't know how to tackle it, don't know what they want, or don't know what kind of approach to have. So for today, I'm just kind of going to keep it quick. I'm going to get right down to it, just kind of talk about what I'm doing as I'm doing it. But if you like what I do, if you like how I can explain things or whatever, if you have questions, if there's something you want to hear, feel free to just hit me up with it and we can talk about it or address it or whatever. I'd be happy to share what I know. But for today, again, we're going to be working on background music, so something that's a little more simple in nature, something where you still want it to be catchy, but not overly involved or detracting away from whatever else is happening. So whenever I approach stuff like this, I kind of have an algorithm of a minimum of 5 different things I use. So I'll start with the beat, and then you also have the bass that you want to add in, and then I'll have some form of harmonic instrument, normally a second form of harmonic instrument, because then I can balance out the highs, mids, and lows and have a nice full sound, and then the melody, of course. A lot of times I'll go back and I'll add a lot more to all of that just because you can, but for today I'm going to try to just keep it to these 5 just so that we can see that simple can still be really good and full, and that can be a good place to start. So I'm going to get started today, and I'm just going to get right in and start on what I want for the kick. I do want a click track to start just so I can get everything locked in, and then once I have the beat locked in, I'll take it away. Make sure that's in and working. Yep. Alright, so I've got my kick. We're good to go. I'm going to kind of approach this in 2 halves, so this first half will be kind of, it's all going to be chill, but this first half's going to be chiller than the rest of what follows, where it just gives it something to grow into, where it's not the same thing repeatedly. So that's something kind of simple enough to start. Might go back and add or take away some things in there. It'll all just depend on how it all comes together, but that's good enough to start basing everything else around. I'm going to quantize just so it all gets lined up. It's all good, and so then the next thing I'll want to get down for this part is the snare. We're going to keep it simple, keep it on 2 and 4, maybe add a little extra for some movement, but we don't want to get over involved yet. Again, may not be what we end up living with, but it's good enough to start. I'm going to go ahead and quantize all of this too, just to really get it locked in and where you want it to be. So we actually don't want this one. We'll keep the kick with the offbeat instead. So for this first part, I think really that's I'm good with just having that for the beat. And so the next thing that I'm going to go ahead and put in is the bass, just so I can get that locked in with the kick. So yeah, I know what I want to do. Okay. Now that I do have that though, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and take the click out. Just, it helps save on space. I'm doing all of this from a laptop, so the more open CPU I can get, the better off I am. So again, that's good enough to start. We'll get more involved as we go and wrap it in. I'm going to go ahead and quantize all of this as well, just to keep it nice and tight. Next on our list is the pad for this part. So this is going to be a high pad. Again, we're going to keep it really simple, kind of smoother for this first section, and lock this one in with the bass and kick as well. Except I need to make sure that I actually have my keyboard set to the right octave I want it to be in. Alright, here we go again. That's about all I want for right now. That's our high pad, so next we're going to go and fill it in. I'm going to use just a normal electric keyboard, something I can kind of play around and ad lib in. This will be the one that kind of just keeps it feeling a little more live. I like running this one through an amp, and then no hammer noise. So what we get then is just something really simple. Let's fill it in and make it sound good. Again, good enough for now. We're just going to leave that as it is, like I said, just to keep it more live. We don't want this to feel completely electronic and robotic, just because of how I like to do things. So that's pretty much everything for the first half here. Now we're going to get into the second half. We're going to make it a little more involved, a little more just tight and grooving. Like, this will be the section that we can loop and repeat if we want to make something longer for voiceovers. So again, we're going to kind of approach it the same way. I'm going to start with the kick, probably then do the snare, add some hat this time so we have a little more rhythmic stuff, and then kind of lock in everything with how that starts. think that's where I wanted everything. We can always move this around and change it if we feel the need to. So I got rid of my click a little prematurely. I stayed pretty close in a lot of places, but a lot of this will need to kind of move around. So that one, for example. Probably about there. These need to be moved. Say right about there. So we'll get them close enough and we'll go back and quantize them again. Oop. That's not what I meant. Then I want this one delayed to the 16th actually. So all of these I was a little early on. Normally I would just go back and re-record, but since I'm working with tight CPU and everything, it's just easier to so I think I might have missed a measure in there too for what I want, but we'll start there. So next is the snare. I just want to give myself a little start off time to where I get it right on the beat. Close, so we'll quantize that too. Get that locked in. That's pretty close. Yeah. Alright, so next we're going to do the hat. Same thing, I kind of know what I want. If I'm not happy with how anything turns out, we just go back and redo it. So close enough. Quantize that, lock it in. Pretty good. So next we're going to do, let's go ahead and get that bass added in. Take it way back there, we'll start recording right here. And let's let it rip. I did forget something that just hit me, something I know that I will want. I'm going to quantize this so I can cut it clean. I want to catch those quarter notes at the end there. So we're going to take it back to there. And let's catch this. Easy. So the good part about doing all of this now is that we can go back and copy and paste if we want to make it longer, or if we want to add different stuff but keep the majority of it the same. We've already laid so much of the groundwork here. Gotta make sure I remember to pull this out, otherwise we end up with blank space, and that's something no one wants. So do pretty good so far. Next, let's go in and get our pad added. Same thing, it'll pretty much be the same as the first, but we're going to make it just a little more involved enough to where it's just not the same thing. We don't want it to be boring. There we go, let's get that locked in. Now this time, before I add in my other pad, electric keyboard, I'm going to go ahead and do the melody so that way I can play around it and not worry about playing too much over what I did, because you don't want conflicting melodies, you don't want too much going on at once, you want different melodies happening at the same time that can complement each other or fill in what dead space would be there. And so for me, getting my primary melody in first kind of lets me know where I should or shouldn't fill space without really overdoing it. So I'll be using just a standard synthesizer. It's something simple and plain enough to where you could go and add reverb or more delay to make it better. So let's see if I can put out something that I like. So close enough. There's plenty of there that we can work with. So I'm gonna kind of be selective with what I quantize here. There's some stuff that I've done, some ghost notes, some accents that I want to keep as is, but everything else that I know I want locked in, we're gonna grab and we're gonna go ahead and get shifted into place. So this one, just with the way I played it, it's a little shorter than what it should be. So we're just gonna, we don't want it that long, but we're gonna grab it and make it a full length. Just makes it sound better. I mismanaged the timing on that one too. That's where I want it. Same thing, we're just going to grab this part right here because I want to keep those little quick notes that won't technically fit into the given time. Let's double check it. So now since that was pulled forward a little bit, we need to pull it back to match with the rest so we can get that little monoglide sound in there. Like always, we're going to double check. Same thing here, we want to just catch these enough. 16th notes. Yeah, we can straighten all this out too. Just make it cleaner. That's not the right one. So that's the gist. So now we can go in. I'm going to add the keyboard. And fill the rest of this out. Sliding back over here to my keyboard and so there, we pretty much have our second section taken care of now. Again, we're going to leave that one unquantized just because you get that nice natural feeling. And so really, this is the backbone of what the rest of this would be. There's plenty of extra auxiliary percussion we can go in and add. We could add another high pad, really writing it out. I could add another low. I could do something more melodic, add another harmony to it. But for now, just for the sake of simplicity, let's just take it from the top, see what we have. And I have enough time, I might go back in and add some of the extra bells and whistles, but here's what we have so far. So not bad. We could definitely loop it all. We could take it again, make the next part even a little more intense, add more movement, which is something we might do, so we already know we're happy with all of this, so I'm just going to grab all of it, paste it over for a whole new section. I know I'm happy with all of this too, but I don't want to grab it quite that far, so we're going to grab it there, highlight it all. There's our next section for that. Same thing here, we're just going to grab it right from where the first note is. I'm not using a pedal, so I don't have to worry about it. That one will be locked in. We're going to want to grab all of this bass too. We're going to keep that as is since we're not changing anything with the kick. I'll probably play something different here just to keep it feeling live, but now where we can really accentuate is really with the beat. I could probably do something different with the melody too and just solo over it or make it different, make it just kind of flow, groover vibe. So something I like to do is since we do have so much movement here, I'm probably going to add more emphasis on the 4 just to deepen the groove a little more. So I'm going to grab this snare, I'm going to duplicate it, is what I'm doing for the record. Something I'm thinking to help make the 4 bigger is we'll add a clap on 4. So I think there's one in the sound patch. That's good. We can add more reverb and equalize a little to make it sound not so tinny, but that's good enough for our purposes right now. So let's put this in on 4. Needs a little more to it. Not that much, but just enough. I'm just going to hit that again. Let's grab that and quantize it in. Let's see, I might go to a different sound patch and find a meteor clap. We're going to. So I use EZdrummer for all of my beats, and I have actual drum kits along with plenty of hip-hop ones to choose from. This is another one that I use frequently. Yeah. So that'll just add some depth to it. So now wherever we have that snare on 4, I'm just going to grab this and copy it in. Copy it in. Copy it in. We don't have the snare on 4 on this measure, so we're not going to worry about it. Copy it in. Copy it in. Copy it in. And then again, we don't have one right there, so we're not going to worry about it. So that'll just help add a little something through this part. Probably find something else to add in on the 4s just to kind of lead into the other beats. Maybe something like a wood block that we can add on the off beats to help accentuate. Something like that. So save what we have so far because we never don't want to save. I'm going to stop recording enable, and I'm going to duplicate this one again. No active playlist because then it just gives me plenty of space to where I don't have to worry about deleting anything before I record something new. I'm not going to worry about changing the name either, but let's start this one to measure before. That's what I wanted. So let's get into it. Let's go ahead and quantize that in as well. Get it locked in. So all I did was I just kind of edited and trimmed them down to where they'll complement with the snare better, to where we don't have too much going on. That's something. If I wanted to get really fancy, I might add something else in on the 4 so I could pan them to 2 sides to make it even more full. The only other thing I might add at this point is just something constantly kind of going in the background, but we're not going to worry about that right now. I like how full this is. It's still enough going on to where you can really loop it and make it sound good. So that means the last thing to add at this part is I'm going to add I'm going to take all of this again and make another section, and then I'll do something different over the melody this next time. There we go. Can I grab all of that in one go? Sure can. Can I grab all of this in one go? Sure will. So we're just creating another section here where we can make it different. I'm actually not even going to worry about that. Grab the bass. Cool, so we have everything we could want. What I'm going to do now is just, since we have the melody going twice over this next one, I'm just going to kind of make something up as I go, just do a little solo to where add some differentiation to it. We're now at the point where we have the sections that we can just put in and we can loop repeatedly, but now if we just want this all as one chunk and we want it to be different the whole time, I can add this solo in and we can have something we could just put down in one block. This is probably about minute 30 long, so we'll see if I can put down something I won't totally hate right off the top, but so I'm not really in love with that. I'm also playing it on a 25 key keyboard, so I don't have the full range of what I would like. So what I instead might do is we're going to come back here and record the key parts that we need and maybe fill in some of that blank stuff on it instead. So excuse me as I slide over to my full-size keyboard again. Something like that. It kind of flows in with the background better and not going to totally drown everything else out. So this is the kind of thing, especially since where it is supposed to just be intended for background music instead of having a full actual ending, you're more so going to fade it out at some point. You probably won't even make it through all of this, which is again why we spent so much time through this middle section here, because chances are that this will be the part where you really take and grab and really extend to make fit whatever it is you're doing at that time. But this pretty much brings today's session to a close. This is really the starts. This is where I start all of my creativity. I might go back and change a lot of this at the front, definitely manipulate some of what I played in other places, but for the most part this is how I begin my process. There's other mixing and mastering and like effects that can be added throughout everything, but I don't really want to spend the time on this today. I just wanted to get my feet wet with streaming this experience, kind of feel out what I can do, how I can approach it better in the future, kind of get y'all a feel for what I will be doing. It won't all be like this either. These first couple times will probably be background music just because that's what's needed and what I've been asked to do for the time being, but especially as we get away from Christmas and into the New Year's and stuff, I'll probably start doing this kind of thing with the actual music that I do for albums, for friends' albums, probably more involved stuff that I just like to do for me, but really I just want to open opportunity for everyone to see what the recording experience from at home is actually like. Again, I also wouldn't mind answering any questions you might have, doing things that you might want me to do, it's all about the music experience, but I'll play this from the top and call it good. Thanks for watching, guys. Alright, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys.